Remember, if you want more detailed information on this restoration, you can go to the links down on the bar right below the video, being the links to the iBoats thread, which it has all the pictures that you could ever want on this restoration, my Facebook page, facebook.com/Frisco Boater, and my website, friscoboater.com. Friscoboater.com has a blog that's usually updated also, just like iBoats.com, but the first place to look is my iBoats.com thread for any updates. And if you want instant updates, make sure you like my Facebook page, because that's where I kind of post my thoughts as I'm doing things. So enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. Actually, this is the day after New Year's, and I thought I was going to have a really busy day and wasn't going to be able to get on the boat, but guess what? Schedule cleared up and called Dad and said, hey, come over, let's get this transom tabbed in. Now, we glued it in last Friday or Saturday, I cannot remember what it was, I think it was Friday. It's been drying ever since, it's been clamped up. One thing I've learned in this colder weather, even though I've got a heated garage, the PL glue is not to be used as a fillet material. The pieces that I had as fillets were still actually wet underneath. They were actually very wet. The transom's dry and it's adhered to the skin just fine, and that stuff's, all the stuff that's thin dried perfectly. But the stuff that's really thick, man, you'd have to leave it for weeks to be able to do it. So we spent about 2 hours taking it all off and basically grinding it all down and completely removing it with acetone, and we're going to go back with peanut butter and make a correct fillet. I thought we were going to be able to do that, and I thought it was going to work great, but if you had more time in the world to mess with, so it would be, I guess it would work. So I guess what we've learned here is that the PL glue is great for adhering stuff to the hull, which is what I'm still going to use it for the stringers, but for building all the fillet material, we're going to use peanut butter, which is the mixture of the resin, thickening it up with chop strand fibers and the cabosil. It's a little more pain in the butt to have to mix it up all the time, but it does dry pretty quickly, and it does make a very, very smooth transition. So we're going to go back to exactly what I've done in the past and just do it that way. It may cost me a little bit more money, but you know what? It is what it is. So right now, where we are, we've got all the stuff cleaned off. We're about ready to make the peanut butter and get it all put back together. And what I did ahead of time is I went ahead and cut all of the, what do you call it, transom tabbing and everything like that, and laid out exactly where I want it to be. If you look at it, the transom tabbing, I've done two different sizes. So, and I forget what they are, but you see how it's overlapped? So you want your bottom layer to go down first, and then your second layer overlaps it. And that's how you get your strength. Same thing on the bottom. I've got them all laid out of how I need to lay them out. Now the top one, I'm only doing one tab because of this little weak spot right up here. As far as just not having a lot of area to do it, we're going to have double tabbing all the way around. And we haven't done it yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of 1708 to go over this whole thing, and that way it's covered 100% in 1708. So right now we're going to go mix up a bunch of peanut butter, and we're going to start filling this in, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do this piece down here. And I forgot to get brass screws or stainless steel screws to screw the gabber drain in, so we'll put in some temporaries for right now. So here we go. I got the gabber drain installed. I did have some stainless steel screws after all. What this is it's just basically a brass gabber drain. I put 5200 around the inside, pilot drilled 3 holes and screwed it in. And then I came around the inside here and did the exact same thing. You can see down there that it's just right straight through the transom there. And then what I did is I went over here and we took on the belt sander. We took and made this piece of PVC pipe at a slight angle, so that way when it sits in there, it gives us a nice, basically a flow straight to the gabber drain. And then just before I put this in there, I'm going to smear some 5200 around it, and we're going to put peanut butter all the way around this thing to completely fill that hole or that void back in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this camera up, and we're going to go and set it and make a big batch of peanut butter. I'm going to wipe down everything really, really good, and we're going to smooth all these transitions out. So anything that I have a gap or a bump or anything like that, we're just going to use that peanut butter as kind of a putty and fill it in real nice. Then we'll put all this 1708 down. All right, I'm going to make my peanut butter. Now there's different types of recipes, and I've got a video on this, so we're not going to bore you with all the details. Basically, it's a little bit of chopped strand fibers, and a whole bunch of Cavasil to thicken it up. You want to make it like a almost like Bondo, but it has these fibers in there that gives you the strength. And then we use this for rounding corners and all that kind of stuff. So I'm putting my mask on here because you're not supposed to breathe Cavasil, much less all this this resin here. So just watch and enjoy. By the way, you always catalyze before you put your mixture in, because if you start mixing this stuff and this stuff in there before you put your hardener, there's a chance when you put the hardener in there that it doesn't get to every little bit of it and you get weak spots. So you always want to catalyze it first and then add the stuff in, but you got to work fairly quickly. It's nice. It's not as warm in here. I think it's 76 degrees in our garage right now. So you don't have to work super fast, but I'm going to mix this as a normal 1%, and it should give us about 45 minutes of work time. You see what I mean by peanut butter? You want it to be thick, especially if you're going to use it for filling. Yep, we're good to go. Hold it. Actually, I can just get it from 5,200 and spread it around there. Thank you. Get this set, and you take that drain plug out, put your finger in there, and probably lay in the back. You make another little bit. All right, so you can see kind of how I did that. Pardon the heater noise. We're trying to kick this off quicker. Now, what I'll do when that kicks off, I'm going to grind down that white part till it's flush, and then we'll put fiberglass right over it. I hope I made sense of my explanation there. And I also took all the peanut butter and rounded off all the corners really good, so that way when I come down with the 1708, the 1708 does a nice flow. And you don't have to like pound it in the corners at all. And I see a little spot right here. There we go. You don't want any jagged edges or anything like that. Now, you don't really have to wait for this peanut butter to dry. You can actually put 1708 right over this as it's wet. So that's maybe what we're going to do on the side here. But the bottom, we have to wait so I can grind that flush and then do the bottom tabbing at a later time, or in about an hour or so. So I'm going to put this back on the stand, and I think we're going to mix up a quart or so and go to town with this stuff. Make it look nice. All better? All better. Look at the rod doing this.
Just do it immediately.
Yeah, you don't want to do more than 2 lamps though. Get too hot. Literally. That's not gonna work. Right.
Well, here we are about 45 minutes later. The camera on the battery died. I'm sorry, the battery on the camera died. So we had to take it in there and get it charging. And so all I did was just finish up the tabbing and put, it's got 2 layers of 1708 and then 1 layer of 1.5 ounce chop strand over the whole thing to kind of give it that nice smooth feel. Just like I do on the deck. It just kind of takes away all the 1708. When it comes to the edge, it usually leaves a splinter, and they're really easy to catch, and then it runs kind of like pantyhose. So I like, if it's going to be exposed, I like putting 1 layer of chop strand over it, and that just gives it that nice extra little oomph. Now we'll cut out the keyhole in a little bit and the drain hole down at the bottom, and then we'll double check our measurements, and if we need to adjust any bit of thickness around the keyhole, we can add as we see fit. But as of right now, we should be done with this transom. It's 100%. We are now going to start working on the stringers to get them glued in. And like I said before, I'm not going to use a whole lot of PL glue on this. All we're going to do is strictly glue them down to hold them in just for now. And then we'll use the peanut butter to give us our fillets. So I'm going to set this thing up on the stand over here and start recording. We're probably going to have to trim some of the bottom of the stringers here so that way they sit nice and flush against the deck, because, or the hull, because we've added some thickness right here where they're going to touch the back transom. So we need to do some adjustments first before we glue these things in. And then we've got this piece of board right here, because if you remember on a previous video, I want the stringers to hug the chines all the way down, which means they need to kind of be bowed. If you were to look down at it, that needs to be kind of bowed like this. Right now they're straight. Well, the one over there, the crown is perfect. This one, the crown goes the opposite way. So what I'm going to do is once we put the PO glue and we get them in there and weighed down, I'm going to put this in between it, cut to length, to force it out until it dries. And it should be dry enough by the weekend that we can actually start glassing the stringer in, and then put, of course, the center stringer in also. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping us back right now. So I'm going to put this on the tripod and we'll go from there.
We're good, thank you.
All right.
Oh, is that perfect or what?
That's fine.
So we go over that one. There you go.
Right here? On the which side?
Just
Right on the line.
Right on it. The line lined up with the line. See this line right here? That V?
Oh,
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
That V, there you go.
All right, so I am putting PL glue, a big bead, all the way down. Now a lot of this will probably gush out. But this at least gets us our initial bond. Okay, I'm out. The dog could take me around.
All right, good. Ready?
Yep. All right, so now we're going to flip this over and set it down in the trough. You ready?
Yep, go.
And don't push it down because we got to push it out.
I know. So you want to put this one in?
Yep.
here?
All right, now I have this is a board that we're going to put in here. Sweetness.
Now this one straight and narrow, and you got a slight bow in this one.
Like bow, which way? Out?
Out.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? What's this?
I don't think you quite go down as hard as you did. There.
That's it right there? Are you happy with that?
The very end down there is out just a hair. I don't know if we can cut another board. Kick it too, this way. Kick it this way, the whole thing. And this one.
Yes?
A little more. And this one over here, one more time. There you got it.
We on?
We're on.
That looks beautiful. Both of those have a nice bow to them. All right, so now I need to go along and squeeze some PL glue into the corners. Now these stringers are actually about 1/4 inch up off the deck for a purpose. You don't want them right on the deck. So all I'm doing is just making sure it's pushed up underneath there to create my nice soft bed for the stringers. That's all I'm doing.
We can do that front too.
Where?
That's
Okay, I see it.
In the front over there, other stringer, port stringer.
That right there is just to provide some strength to hold it when we pull the clamping pressure off so it doesn't want to bounce back into place. Well, as you can see, I have the stringers in and weighted down and drying, and I think it's going to take quite a while. I've got my little heater up there blowing air down on it to try to warm this up in here to get this PO glue to dry quicker. One thing I didn't talk about whenever I was putting these down is I did use little pieces of soft like balsa wood. I had some left over that just kind of space it up off the deck. I only had to do that in two places, back here in the back and then up at the front. The rest of it was actually off the deck already about, I'd say about an 1/8 to 1/4 inch, so it all worked out for the better. Like I said before, the glassing is where all your strength comes from, so we're going to wait for this glue to completely dry, and then we're going to create our fillets again and glass this over. And I think I'm going to try to do this all in one fell swoop, go up and over. You see how there's a gap right here? I'm going to make fillets in there so we don't have to fill that up, fill it all in with peanut butter. But I really enjoy working with that 1708. I tell you, that is some of the best stuff to work with. It just lays down so nicely. So I'm going to try to do a hero move and just go up and over with the entire thing. It may end up backfiring in my face and we may not do it, but it sure would be nice if we can do it all in one, we don't have to cap the stringers, we just do one side, one piece all the way up and over. The next thing is, once this is dry, we're going to put this center stringer in. You notice that I have a 2x4 screwed to it. This thing's wanting to bow either direction, so what we're going to do is I screw the 2x4 to it to hold it straight, and then we're going to put it down in there. We're going to use peanut butter to glue this in. I've got to get down in there because I cannot get my grinder down in there to grind it. We're going to take a wire brush with acetone and scrub that little center keel out because this board fits down inside there. And I'm just going to use peanut butter because it's going to dry quicker. Once these are done, it's Wednesday now. I won't be able to work on it again until Saturday. So therefore, we'll be able to glue it in, once this is dried, and I can take out this little pry board that is spreading these out to hold them in. And before I take that board out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and put a little bit of filler peanut butter on either side and put some tabs to just hold it, so that way when we take this out, if that PL glue is somewhat wet still or soft, it doesn't yank it off. And then we're going to lay them down, and I still have to build a little bulkhead back here. I mean, it's still little things we got to do, but nothing serious. But anyway, that's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.